The universe is a master of deception. From the moment you wake up, your senses tell you a story about how the world works. You feel the steady march of time as your coffee cools. You perceive the vastness of the space between your front door and the distant horizon. In your daily life, space is a fixed stage, and time is a river that flows at a constant, unyielding rate. But this comfortable reality is a lie. When we look at the fastest thing in existence, the very foundations of our world begin to crumble. Light does not experience the universe the way we do. To a beam of light, the concepts of here and there have absolutely no meaning. Concepts of yesterday and tomorrow simply do not exist. This is not just a poetic metaphor or a trick of human perspective. It is a fundamental, hard-coded law of our cosmos. Today, we are going to tear back the curtain of human intuition. We're going to explore why, for a photon, the entire universe is effectively a single point. Light moves through the void at a speed that is truly difficult for our primate brains to grasp. In the cold, empty vacuum of space, light travels at exactly 299,792,458 meters per second. Physicists call this number c, and it is the absolute speed limit of our reality. Nothing containing information can ever travel faster than this, because the fabric of the universe itself forbids it. But there is a mystery hidden within this number that defies all common sense. Imagine you are driving a car at 60 miles per hour, and you throw a baseball forward at 20 miles per hour. To someone standing on the sidewalk, the ball is moving at 80 miles per hour. You simply add the speeds together, and the math works perfectly. But light refuses to play by these rules. Imagine you are on a futuristic spaceship traveling at 90% of the speed of light. You reach forward, and you click on a flashlight. You might expect the light to travel at 190% of c, but it does not. The light still moves away from you at its speed. Even stranger, a stationary observer watching you fly past would also measure that light at the same speed. It does not matter how fast you are moving, or which direction you are heading. Light always moves at the same speed for everyone, everywhere, all the time. This consistency is a universal constant, but it forces the rest of reality to warp. Because the speed of light must remain the same, something else has to give way. The universe must physically distort space, and it must physically stretch time to keep the math consistent. When space and time are forced to choose, it is time that breaks first. This strange phenomenon is known as time dilation. Think of the universe as having a limited amount of speed to give. You are always moving through the 4 dimensions of space-time. As you move faster through the 3 dimensions of space, you must move slower through the dimension of time. Imagine a clock on your wall, its polished gears clicking with the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. Each tick marks a second of your life passing by. Now, imagine placing that same clock onto a high-speed spaceship. As that ship accelerates toward the cosmic speed limit, the universe begins to intervene. If the ship flies past you at 99% of the speed of light, you would witness a nightmare. To your eyes, the clock on the ship would appear to be frozen in slow motion. The hands would struggle to move against an invisible, heavy tide. Crew inside would look like statues, their every movement taking hours of your time. This is not an optical illusion or a delay in the light reaching your eyes. Time itself is physically passing slower for the ship. The biological processes of the crew have slowed down. Their aging has slowed. Their thoughts have slowed. If the ship traveled for 1 year by its own clock, they might return to Earth to find that centuries have passed. The faster you go, the more time stretches out like taffy. As you approach 100% of the speed of light, time slows to a crawl. It reaches a point where the very idea of later begins to dissolve. But time is only half of the distortion. Space itself is just as flexible as time. When you travel at extreme velocities, the universe in front of you literally begins to shrink. This is called length contraction. Imagine you are holding a standard wooden ruler, exactly 12 inches long. If you could run at near light speeds, someone watching from the sidewalk would see something bizarre. To them, your ruler would appear to have flattened. In the direction of your motion, the ruler might look like it is only an inch long. Again, this is not a trick of the light. The fabric of space-time is physically compressing. From your perspective inside the ship, you wouldn't feel squashed. Instead, you would see the entire universe in front of you contracting. If you were traveling to a star system 4 light years away, the distance would not look like 4 light years. As you speed up, that distance might shrink to a few miles. The stars themselves would appear to be right next to one another. The massive void of the cosmos would flatten into a thin sheet. This must happen because if your clock is ticking slower, you must have a shorter distance to travel. The speed of light must remain constant, so the universe compensates by deleting the distance. Space and time are not separate entities, but a single fluid fabric. The faster you move, the more you realize that distance is just a relative concept. Now we must ask the ultimate question. What happens when you reach the final barrier? What happens when you travel at exactly 100% of the speed of light? For a photon, which has no mass and always moves at c, the math reaches a breaking point. At the speed of light, the equations of Einstein collapse into a singular mathematical zero. Time dilation becomes infinite. Time stops. Length contraction becomes absolute. Distance becomes zero. For a photon, there is no journey. There is no between. There is no waiting. Every point in the entire universe, along its line of travel, occupies the exact same location. The moment the photon is created in the heart of a star is the same moment it hits your eye. There is no time for a photon to experience anything. There is no space for it to move through. To a photon, the universe is not a vast, expanding void. To a photon, the entire universe is a single, dimensionless point. Think about a photon emitted from a galaxy at the very edge of the observable universe. That galaxy is 13 billion light years away from Earth. From our perspective, that light has been on an epic voyage since the dawn of time. Traveled through the dark for billions of years, passing through shimmering nebulae. It drifted past the birth of new solar systems and the death of ancient stars. Whole civilizations rose from the dust, mastered fire, built empires, and went extinct. All while that single photon was traveling toward us. But from the perspective of that photon, the journey was instantaneous. It was born in a distant, ancient explosion, and it was absorbed by your retina at the exact same moment. In its reality, it never moved an inch across the vacuum. In its reality, not a single fraction of a second ever passed. The photon experiences the entire 13 billion year history of the cosmos as a flash. It bridges the impossible gap between the edge of the universe and your eye in 0 seconds. This means that for the fundamental carrier of light, every part of the cosmos is connected. Separation is only an illusion felt by things with mass, like you and me. Distance is just a side effect of moving slower than the cosmic limit. The universe is effectively touching itself through the medium of light. We live our lives trapped in a world defined by boundaries. We measure our existence in minutes, and our achievements in miles. We feel small because the universe looks so unimaginably large and empty. But these are not absolute truths. They are merely the results of our slow speed and our heavy bodies. For the particles that build our world, time and space are just suggestions. Light is the golden thread that ties the entire universe together. It connects the furthest star to the smallest atom across all distances and all eras. When you look up at the night sky, you are not just looking at the ancient past. You are interacting with something that feels the past is actually the present. Our reality is just one limited way of looking at a much deeper, more unified truth. In the eyes of light, there is no separation. In the eyes of light, everything is one. We are all living in a singular point of existence, masked by the illusion of time.